All right, everybody, welcome back. We're going to do this short drawing here today, and then we're going to do a review for the final drawing. And then the rest of the time will be given so that you can do your project. You need to obviously open up SolidWorks. And the other thing you want to do is go on to Brightspace and go to Lab 14 this week, because in Lab 14 there is a file you need. It says this part contains a 3D sketch that you will use to create the hood scoop, and it's right here, hood scoop 3D sketch. You got to click on that, download that, and open that up in SolidWorks. Okay, once you get this open up in SolidWorks. All right, so I downloaded the PDF that's here, which looks like this. And on the PDF, I actually wrote the steps on how to do this. So we did step one, which is kind of like download and open up that file. It says right click on any empty space on the toolbar and turn on the surface toolbar. So in SolidWorks, find an empty area of the toolbar up here and right click. And you want to turn on surfaces. Okay, so alphabetical order, find surface. And then we have sheet metal on from last week. Oh, here, let's do this. Let's turn on surfaces. And then I'm going to right click on this again and turn off sheet metal from last week. That's where the sheet metal toolbar is. So right click on the toolbar and turn off sheet metal if you need to. You can see over here on the left, we have a toolbar here. And this is all of our surfaces toolbars. Okay, so right click, surfaces is on. Next, we're going to go to sketch and then do a 3D sketch. So go to the sketch panel, the sketch toolbar. Click on the drop-down arrow underneath or next to sketch, under sketch, and go to 3D sketch. So sketch, drop down, 3D sketch. And what we're going to do is we're going to convert entities from this sketch and put them on a second sketch. So we should have 3D sketch 2 over here on the left. Okay. One thing I think we should do is maybe turn off these planes so they're not in the way. So over here on the left where it says front plane, we can click on that and turn off the eyeball. Do the same thing with the top plane, click on that and turn off the eyeball. And do that same thing with the right plane. Before we go much farther, all right, so we're in a second new sketch, 3D sketch 2. I turned off those planes so we can see it better. Up top, I'm going to go to my Convert Entities icon. So I'm on my Sketch tab. Click on Convert Entities. And it's kind of hard to see. I'm going to click on this line right here. I like to spin it around so you can see a little bit. I'm going to click on this line right here. So these two lines, this top one, and then where this one comes down and it hits this line. Okay, so it should be those 4 things. Spline 1, 2, you can see there's 4 of them here. 1, 2, 5, 6. Here, here, this one that touches, this one that touches. Okay, once you have those, hit the green check mark, and it converts them into a sketch on your current sketch, 3D sketch 2. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're actually going to trim off these 2 pieces. So up top, click on the Trim Entities icon. And over here on the right, click on this little part right here and trim that off. Trim this part here on the right, trim that off. And this part hanging down here, we want to trim this part off. Okay, so in a sense, we have kind of like a bent square. All right, you can hit the check mark to finish the trim command or hit escape. All right, so the next step, so that was, we clicked on convert entities, we trimmed if needed. Now we're going to exit the sketch mode, and then we're going to click on the filled surface tool. So I'm going to go up to my drop down here and click on 3D sketch to turn it off, or what you could do is actually hit exit the sketch mode, not the X will cancel it, but this little icon here, the exit sketch, click on that. Make sure the 3D sketch 2 is highlighted. If yours says like sketch 3 or sketch 4, that's fine. Like if you messed up a couple times, the name doesn't matter. And then over here on this toolbar that we opened up, the surface toolbar, we want the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 icon down, the bottom one here that says filled surface, or the last one in this list, filled surface. Click on that. And it might take a little bit, but it's going to give you a preview of what it's going to fill. And once you have that, hit the green check mark for OK. And that's the first one. All right, so we're pretty much going to repeat those steps kind of over and over again for each face, each surface face. So we're going to go to the sketch drop down again. We're going to go to 3D sketch again. Okay, so we got a new one here. Up top, click on the sketch tab, convert entities. And we're going to do this top line again, this line again, the one that it touches again, just these three this time. So we're kind of doing all the ones that touch in a loop. Okay, so the top one, this one here, and this one here. Just those three. You can see over here on the left, I have just those three things selected. Hit the green check mark for OK. Okay, now we need to trim off these two pieces on the left. So click on the trim entities icon. Click on this piece here on the left. And this one down here on the left. And we have something kind of like an arrow. And what we did is we made this a closed loop. So now if I hit that, I can only go this way, I can only go this way, and I can only go this way. So it's kind of like a loop, which is what we need. Okay, I can hit the green check mark or just hit escape to get out of trim. We need to exit the sketch mode, so click over here on that exit sketch mode icon. Make sure 3D sketch 3, the bottom one, is highlighted. You know it's highlighted because it's blue. And then click on that filled surface again. So it's filling in this as a surface, but there's actually no thickness to this material. We're going to add that later. Hit the green check mark for OK. And there's 2 of like 6 or 7 done. All right, we're going to kind of repeat that again. Let's do another 3D sketch. So sketch drop down, 3D sketch, convert entities. Let's do these two here. Let's click on these two. And then these two little loops that kind of touch those. Make sure you don't click on these little stars. You want to click on the actual line. So these two and these two. So I got 4 things total selected. Hit the check mark for OK. Now this one, it's a closed loop by default. We don't have to trim anything. If I go around in a circle, if I go across and follow this, I can only go one way the entire time. on the black lines, so it's closed in. Click on the exit sketch icon. Make sure the 3D Sketch 4 is highlighted blue, and click on the filled surface icon again. It does this kind of cool bend thing. I think it's pretty neat looking. And hit the OK check mark. All right, we're going to keep repeating that. Let's do another 3D sketch. Drop down 3D sketch. Convert entities. And let's kind of do this front side right here. So this line right there, the one over here that touches it on the left, and the bottom line. So these three. Hit the OK check mark to convert them. So now they're black. That means they're converted to the current sketch. Exit the sketch. Click on the filled surface icon. And the OK check mark. All right, we got two more. Let's do another 3D sketch. Convert entities. All right, this time we're going to click on this line here. This one on the right that touches it. The one on the bottom side here. And then the one that touches that. Okay, again, they kind of make like a loop that goes around. So we should have 4 things selected. So they're called splines. Splines are just curvy lines. They're called splines. Hit the OK check mark to convert. And you can see this one, we need to trim off this little piece sticking out here on the top. So up top, go to Trim Entities. And click on this little piece sticking out here. Okay, so now when you go to this intersection, you can't go up or down, you have to go down. That's what's called a closed loop. So I trimmed off that piece right there. Hit the OK check marker, hit escape, get out of trim. Exit the sketch mode. Make sure your sketch is highlighted blue on the bottom here. And do another filled surface. And hit the check mark. All right, we're gonna do one on the bottom. Go to this 3D sketch. Convert entities. I'm gonna use my middle mouse button, scroll straight up so I can get the underside. Click on this straight line. Follow the straight line and click on this line here that touches it. Then follow that line until you hit this line here that touches both of them. It's kind of hard to tell which ones I'm clicking on. But these bottom 2 edges here and this bottom edge here. So 3 things selected. Hit the OK check mark to convert them. We don't need to trim anything on this, so let's just do the exit the sketch mode. Make sure your sketch is highlighted. See if I click off of it, it's not highlighted. So I gotta make sure it's highlighted. You click on filled surface icon and check mark it. And then when you're done, you can go to your isometric view. And we only drew half of it so far. All right, so we need to mirror this because this is only half of it. And one thing we should do to help making it easier to mirror is turn on the right plane. So let's click back over here on the left where it says right plane, turn it back on with the eyeball, show, click on the show eyeball so that our right plane is showing. And I'm going to click off everything on my screen so I have nothing selected by mistake. Click on my features panel, my features toolbar. And I know I want to go to my features because once you have all those surfaces, they're all features. Click on the mirror icon. Okay, so it's over here, mirror. We're going to mirror it on the right plane, right, because that's the middle. And we have three options: features to mirror, faces to mirror, or bodies to mirror. If we go back to our PDF, it says we want to use bodies to mirror. Features tab, mirror, right plane, bodies to mirror. So let's click on this third option that says bodies to mirror. And then what I do is just drag out a big selection window, just select everything at once. Okay, you can go around and actually click on the stuff, but you can just draw a big window around it to grab it all. Make sure you have 6 things. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Everything should be blue. Okay, once you have that, hit OK. And it mirrors it. Okay, now like I said, we want to make this out of sheet metal, but right now this surface doesn't have any thickness to it. And of course, sheet metal has a thickness to it. Before we can make a thickness to this, we have to make it actually a solid. To make it a solid, we need to do a fill in the front. Okay, this front that's open, we're going to fill it in and make it a solid so that we can shell it out to give it a specific thickness. So click off of everything. Click on your sketch toolbar again. So I'm on the sketch tab. Click on the sketch drop down, go to 3D sketch again. We're going to do another one of these 3D sketches. Okay, click on convert entities. Okay, you shouldn't have anything in here yet. If you do, select it and hit the delete key to delete it out. And we want, now this can be tricky. We want this edge right there. And it can be kind of tricky to grab. Click on that edge and click on the same on the other side. So it's kind of like the front edge opening the whole way around. 2 things selected. Hit the OK check mark to convert them. Exit the sketch. Click on the exit sketch icon. And with the sketch still highlighted, so to text it, click on the filled surface icon. And hit the green check mark to accept. Now that still did not make it solid, it's just hollow inside. Okay, so that's where we're going to do the next step. All right, so the next step, it says fill in the front. We did that. On the surface toolbar, use the knit surface tool and select everything. Select the option, checkbox, create solid. Okay, so here's what that means. Over here, we want to knit surface. It looks like 2 little pieces of sheet metal being knit together, almost like a t-shirt. Okay, click on that knit surface icon. We want to select everything. So again, one big selection window way out here, way out there. Just one big window, grab it all. Okay, you could click on everything, but just do one big selection window. Got the bottom selected, the front, everything. Everything's blue. Okay, with everything selected, I'm going to turn on this box here. It says create a solid. We want to create this into a solid piece. Make sure that box is checked and hit the OK check mark. Okay, now you remember how it was hollow before? You don't have to do this, but you can watch me. There's a tool up here that says section view. What that allows you to do is to cut into this. You can see that it's a solid piece. It's no longer hollow inside. All that gray stuff is like solid material. Well, obviously that's not going to work well with the intake hood scoop. So we need to shell it. Click on the features panel. Good old shell command. Click on the front surface. Spin around and click on the two bottom pieces. Left and right. So the stuff we're clicking on is the faces that are going to be removed. So we're going to remove the front and bottom. And the thickness is going to be 0.02. So you can just type in 0.02 inches. Whoops, there we go. 0.02 inches, hit OK. Now you're going to get an error message saying that the thickness is greater than the minimum radius, meaning that it, like right here, it's getting pinched and it's kind of folding in on itself. That's okay, it's fine. Just hit OK. And there you go. So now this actually has a thickness to it. Okay, it's at 0.01 inch. It's not very thick, it's sheet metal, but it does have a thickness to it. Okay, and that's it for that. Click on save. Save as, file save as. And this is Think Lab 14. Sheet metal. So Lab 14, sheet metal. I've been downloading stuff into a SolidWorks folder on my desktop, and I even made a new folder each week. New folder icon, Lab 14, so I can save my stuff and make it organized. All right, while we do that, let's do a new title block. File new. Drawing. And we're going to use the ANSI landscape, the top one, the default. Hit OK. Double click on our file that we saved. We're going to bring in the isometric view. I'm going to make it shaded with edges. And just place it right there in the screen. Now it's small. If you look at the PDF at scale, it says scale 1:2. So over here on the bottom right corner, we need to change this scale to 1:2. Okay, and then you can move this onto the center of the sheet. Let me move it. Oh, there we go. My move box is way out here to the side. Like way out here, way down here. Okay, make sure you edit the sheet. Right click down here on the sheet. Edit sheet format. Double click on the text box here. And you can type in your name. Make it 12 points like we did before. And double click on the sheet number. 12 points should work for that. 12 points, 12 points. Click off your text, and you can exit the sheet mode. All right, let's save this. File, save as. Saving it in my Lab 14 folder I made with the same title, save. And we want to save it as a PDF. File, save as. Change the save as type to the PDF. Save that. And then of course you can go back to Brightspace and upload that to the Dropbox. All right, so the practice for the final is actually in Lab 6. So if you're on Brightspace, you can go to Lab 6. It is the Lab 6 Advance is the kind of practice for the final, at least the drawing part of the final. Okay, so here's the part we're going to draw. Again, this isn't exactly like the part, but it's a lot of the same steps and a lot of the same principles. Okay, note this is note. Draw this view on the top plane, which is a little bit different than what we've done. We want to draw this on the top plane. So let's go to SolidWorks. You can leave this up or whatever, it doesn't matter. Let's do, I'm actually gonna, file new, part file, create a new part file. Now we should check to see if this is in inches or millimeters. And if we look, it says dimensions are in inches. Okay, so this one is in inches. So we want to make sure that down here we're in IPS, inches, pounds, seconds, in the bottom right corner, inches, pounds, seconds. And we're going to click on the Sketch tab. Click on the sketch icon. And remember that note said click on draw the sketch on this top plane. So we want to make sure we select the top plane, yellow or orange. Okay. So I would make the origin at the center of this circle here. I think that's a good place for the origin. So we want to draw a circle with a diameter of 1. So circle tool. Click on the origin, drag out a circle and click. Go to Smart Dimension. Click on your circle, place it down on your screen, and make it 1 inch, 1 and enter. All right, I'm going to draw a center line over 3 inches. And then let's do that. So click on the drop down next to the line tool. Click on the center line icon or tool. Start on the origin, click, drag it out about 3 inches. I'm going to zoom out and get it close. I'm at 2.95, close enough. Hit escape. Okay, while we're at it, let's draw this line here to the left, 1.5 inches from the center out. So center line tool again, make sure they're center lines, not regular lines. Click on the origin, come out about 1.5 inches and click, hit escape. And go from the center straight up, 2.6. So center line from the center straight up, 2.6, hit escape. All right, now we're going to smart dimension it. So smart dimension, we're going to do this one first since I remember that that is 1.6. 6 and enter. Click on this line here, place down the dimension, 3 inches and enter.
It's supposed to be 2.6, correct?
Oh, it is 2.6, you're right. Thank you. I was wondering, I was like, that doesn't look right. I'm going to click back, double click back on your 1.6 and make it 2.6. You just zoom out if you need to. And click on this line here and make that 1.5. All right, so we got the 2.6, the 1.5, 3, a diameter 1. Notice there's another curve in here. This is a radius of 0.75. All right, so let's grab the circle tool. Click and drag out a circle that's bigger than the last one. And over here on the left, where we have a radius that we can enter, we want to type in the 0.75 enter. So that's how you can make a circle that would come up with a diameter radius or diameter dimension. You can type in the radius over here. We should lock that down though, so it doesn't move or change or shift on us. So let's turn on Smart Dimensions and click on the big circle here and just lay down the diameter of 1.5, right? Because a radius 0.75 times 2, radius plus radius is the diameter, 1.5. All right, next we're going to draw the outside curve circle on all 3 locations, here, here, and up here. And see there's a dimension right here that's pointing at this outside curve, which is what we want, radius 0.34. So circle tool, click on that spot and drag it out and click. And again, on the bottom left, 0.34 and enter. And just to make sure that that locks in, I'm going to grab my Smart Dimension, click on the circle, and place down the diameter of 0.68 because that's twice of the 0.34. All right, we need to click on the circle tool again. And we're going to draw 2 more circles on the endpoints here. Except we're going to do something different. I'm going to hit Escape to get out of my circle tool. Now on my keyboard, I'm going to hold down the Control key, CTRL, Control. Click on the 3 circles that we made, these 3 outside ones. Make sure they're all highlighted blue. I think I missed that one. It should be highlighted light blue. Over here it says Selected Entities. There's 3 of them there. We're going to make them all equal. So instead of dimensioning each one, you use the equal relationship. And the benefit of that is that if I change this dimension, these will all change with it. So if I had like 10 different holes or 30 different holes, if I make them all equal and change one, they all change with it. Okay, and this, it's not a big deal. I could dimension each one individually. Not a big deal. All right, next we want to draw lines that connect these. So click on the line tool. Click on the edge of this circle. And we want to come down kind of like we did last week with the sheet metal piece. And oh, we should have saved that. I called it. It doesn't matter. And you want to get both relationships, the little concentric relationship or coincident, concentric, yeah, and the tangent, those 2, click on it and hit Escape. If the tangent didn't show up, hold down the Control key and click on the circle and click on the line, and you can add a tangent. Sometimes it doesn't apply automatically, so you have to manually add the tangent relationship. Okay, do the same on the other side. Line tool, click on the top circle again, click on this circle, get both relationships, and click. Hit Escape to get out of it. Okay, we're going to do another one. Line tool, click on this circle, go to the big one here now, get both relationships, click, and escape. And this one to that one. Click on the line tool, click on the circle here, click on the big one, get both relationships and click. Now you can see right here, it did not add a tangent for me. Not a big deal. Hold down the control key, click on the circle, click on the line, add the tangent manually. Let's see how that changed. Check each side. So I got one there, tangent, 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 and up top, I think I'm missing one. Yeah, see right here. I'm going to click off of it because I had this one selected still. Hold down the control key, click on the circle, the line that you need to click on, add tangent. Of course, yours could be different than mine, but just look at each intersection, make sure that there's the two relationships. That means it's touching, that means it's tangent. So it touches, it's tangent, touches, it's tangent. Okay, then we're going to trim out the circles here. So up top, click on Trim Entities. Trim out those two, these two, this big one here, it's going to get 4 trims, and these two. And again, don't worry about this little circle here. That's part of the actual dimension here. I'm going to hit, oh, I need to click on Trim the Closest. Or you need to, maybe, if I didn't show you that. Over here, you should have 5 options. You want to click on Trim the Closest, and then you can trim out all that stuff. And then hit Escape to get out of the trim tool. This circle here is actually just part of the dimension. That's just part of the dimension there. So don't worry about that. That's not anything you need to trim. All right, so we're gonna do an extrude boss base. So go to the features panel, do an extruded boss base. And this part, we need to see how thick it is. So over here, we can see that the whole part from top to bottom or front to back is 0.5 half-inch thick. So 0.5 and enter. And hit the green check mark to accept. So in a sense, we're going to draw this kind of outside part, and then we'll drill the holes into it, and then we're going to shell it out. All right, so to get this view, remember we drew this on the top plane, so we need to go to our top view. So go to our view orientation, go to the top view, Control 5 is the keyboard shortcut. All right, we're going to put a sketch on the top here, so go to our Sketch tab, click on the sketch icon, click on this surface here to make it active. Now I got my sketch 2 over here on the left. I'm inside my sketch mode because I got these symbols. These symbols mean I'm inside my sketch mode. I'm going to grab my circle tool. So click on the circle tool, and we want to draw out, I'm going to draw out the big circle here. So the little circle is a diameter of 0.21. Here, this dimension right here, 0.38, points to the bigger circle. And you're like, how do we have 2 holes inside of each other? Well, if you look at this down here, it's a counter bore, meaning that it goes halfway down so that the bolt head can stay flush with the surface, and then the bolt goes through the little hole. Okay, so the big hole only goes halfway down, which you can actually see here. The big hole goes halfway down, 0.25. The little hole goes the whole way through. Diameter of 0.38. So let's grab the circle tool. Now we gotta grab the center point here. To get that, you can touch the circle and kind of try to move your mouse around until you get that little center point. Do that for each one. Just draw the circle. We don't know the size yet. Turn on Smart Dimensions. Click on one of the circles and make it the diameter of 0.38. 0.38 and enter. I like to put my dimensions in the same location they are on the handout. Doesn't matter. All right, I'm going to hit escape to get out of my smart dimension. I'm going to click on that circle again, the edge of it. I'm going to hold down the control key on my keyboard. So hold down control. Click on the other two circles to select them. So I got all three selected. Mark 1, 2, and 3, make them equal. Okay, so now they're all equal to one another, equal to 0.38. You can hit OK, you can just click off of it. All right, go to the features panel. And we want to cut these out. So we're going to do an extrude cut. Make sure you do an extrude cut. And we said we want to go only halfway down. We said halfway was 0.25. Enter. And hit the OK check mark to accept. So the big hole goes halfway down. All right, now we're going to do little holes. Let's click on the sketch tab. Click on the sketch icon. I'm going to put this sketch on the bottom of this hole. So like that inside surface, click. I'm going to go to my top view, Control 5. I'm going to grab my circle tool. I'm going to draw little circles on the center point. Make sure you click on that little center point right there. Again, we don't know how big yet. I'm going to hit escape to get out of my circle tool. Actually, I right click and went to select. Same thing as hitting the escape key. And on my handout, diameter of 0.21. So smart dimension on. Click on the little circle here, drag it out, place it down. 0.21, enter. Hit escape to turn off smart dimensions. Click on the edge of that circle, the highlighted blue. Hold down the control key. And click on the other two circles. Okay, remember, hold control, click on all three. Make them equal. And then you can just click off of them. All right, let's do another extrude cut. Go to the features panel. Do an extrude cut again to cut out the hole. This time we can just change blind to through all. We're going to cut out through all of it, hit OK. All right, so the next thing we want to do, if we look at here, is you got this weird shape here, and it's kind of confusing, but all it is we shell it out, and then we use the fillet to round the corners, okay? Because if you were popping this out of a mold, you can't pop it out of a mold with straight corners. It won't come out. So you need to round the corners, fillet them. So let's go to our features panel. Click on the shell tool again. Click on this top surface to remove this surface. And the D1, the distance we want to shell it, is on the handout. It says 0.15 TYP typical wall. So that means that going the whole way around, the typical distance is 0.15. So change that to 0.15 and hit OK. Okay, then we're going to fill it. We're going to do a 3D fillet. So I'm still on my features panel. Click on the fillet icon. And the fillet radius is right here, radius of 0.25. Again, TYP stands for typical, meaning that anytime you see a rounded edge that looks about this size, here, 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 all over, that it's typically radius of 0.25. So over here where the radius is, the default is 0.10. I'm gonna type in, highlight it all, 0.25, and enter. All right, so we're gonna click on this vertical edge right here, going up and down on each side, on each hole. So it's gonna be 2, 4, 6, 8 of them. Let me show you. We got these two, add those two, spin it around. We have these two. And you don't want to forget the big one here. We want one here on each side of this big one. Okay, so I actually have 8 edges selected. 2, 4, 6, 8, 2 for each hole. Hit the check mark once. And then we're going to do a second fillet. So click on fillet again. Still 0.25 radius. Click on the bottom. That will select the whole way, the edge, the whole way around the perimeter. And hit the check mark again. And that's it. Okay, again, this one's not graded. This is a practice. You could save it. Let's save it. File, save as. And we could just call it practice final or something. Now, what I would recommend doing is if you had trouble with it, and even if you didn't have trouble with it, maybe try this on your own before the final next week. So maybe like next Monday or Tuesday, open up this PDF. Remember, it's found on Lab 6, Week 6, at the bottom, Lab 6 Advanced. You can download the PDF for yourself and try it. If you can draw it on your own without watching the video, you're good to go for the final. If you get through half of it and you get stuck, well, now's the time to learn on Monday or Tuesday or even Wednesday day, or that's pushing it. You can always come back here and then watch the video on how to do it. And that way you should be able to get 100 on the final. Remember, you also need to know how to do assemblies, which is Lab 10. We have to assemble the parts together and explode them, putting all of them in a separate view with the labels, Lab 11. Okay, that's what your final consists of. You have 2 hours to do the final, 5 to 7. Again, we're all gonna do it together next Wednesday, 5 to 7.